Meeting to order, please.
So far, they don't have to.
How you doing?
Yes, I'm here.
Whenever you're ready.
Did I just get it?
Marimus? Here. Deuter?
Here.
Dunn?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Palumsky?
Here.
Jensen?
Here.
Toludo?
Here.
Cahill?
Here.
Park?
Here.
Conquest?
Here.
Zito, absent. Mulliner?
Here.
Brennan?
Here.
12 present, 1 absent, 1 vacancy.
12 present, 1 absent, 1 vacant. We have a quorum. Item 1.2, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have to do this.
Yeah, we still do.
All right, I want to read the following. In light of the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak, the Mayor of the City of Elmhurst has determined that an in-person meeting for the July 6, 2021 City Council meeting may not be practical or prudent in light of the disaster. All of the aldermen of the City Council participating in the July 6 City Council meeting, whatever their physical location, shall be verified and determined that they can hear one another and we can hear all discussion and testimony during the meeting. We have no aldermen who are participating remotely, although we will have some participation perhaps for public comment. Any announcements from the dais? All right, there being none, we'll move on to item 3.1, presentation of Ryan Company's development proposal. I want to say before we get started that this was supposed to be the prelude to an item later on the agenda that was a resolution that I had advanced for consideration by the council. In the last hours, I will say today I've had conversations with several aldermen, and there seems to be a bit of confusion and concern about how we're proceeding. So I will tell you now that my intent is to proceed with the presentation, to remove the item from the agenda for this evening, and to bring it back in a couple of weeks. I also just want to explain, not for debate, but just for background and consideration when it does come on the agenda, that we have a technical issue to allow Ryan to proceed just with filing an application. The letter of intent is a non-binding letter. It creates no legal rights in the applicant, and it would be for the council to then talk about a contract within 45 days, or the letter of intent could be extended. But there has been concern expressed about how it ties into the process in view of the fact that the city owns this parcel of property. So I want to make sure that I have a chance to speak with various aldermen, and then you have the opportunity to speak with each other. I certainly didn't want to create any perception that we're trying to rush this through. So with that, I will go on with the presentation, and the purpose, therefore, is not to then debate the presentation, but to hear it, and I expect it's going to be largely the same one that that was presented to DPZ committee. So with that, who's present from Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Brett Bunke. I'm Director of Architecture for Ryan Companies. So I'm the architect and I lead the design team. And I'll present our DPZ package here for you this evening. So our site is located at the corner of Haven and First Avenue, so it's that red shaded area. Right now there's an existing condominium building on the site, as well as an open parking lot and a one-story commercial building on the corner of First and Haven. If you could advance, please. This is the current zoning map. As you see, our project lies within the CBOC and CBOCR zoning district, and right across the street to the east is a residential R2 and residential R4. Next, please. And these are just some site photographs of the existing conditions. The two photographs on the top are of the parking lot that belongs to Elmhurst Clinic with the condo building in the background. The image to the right of that, again, you'll see the existing condo building in the background and the parking lot in the foreground. And the bottom two images are taken at First and Haven with the one-story commercial building and the associated parking lot. Next, please. This is a current site plan. We have revised this scheme since we first shown it to the community, and in the next few slides you'll be able to see a side-by-side comparison. But this is the site plan. That white block is a 6-story portion of residential units, and to the east are two smaller 4-story portions of the building facing the residential portion along Haven. And then down at the corner at the intersection, it's 5 stories with an outdoor patio up on that 6th floor. And in the center is the amenity courtyard. It will be hardscaped, landscaped, and there'll be a pool as well. And to the north of that is a smaller courtyard. A little further north, please, between those two those two gray boxes. Next, please. So this is an aerial view of the revised scheme. So you'll see First and Haven in the foreground. So the building is 6 stories, which is the lighter colored portion, and the 5- and 4-story portions clad in masonry facing the residential neighborhood to the east. So as you see, we're trying to step down. Behind in the background, you'll see the existing 9-story building. And as we approach towards the east, we step down from that 6 stories to 5 stories into that 4 stories. And then obviously we have the 2-story podium with the amenity decks. Next, please. So this is a side-by-side comparison of our original scheme, which is on the left, where we had a majority of the massing running parallel with Haven. And a good majority of that 6 stories lies within a 100-foot setback from the property line because we are in the CBOCR. Part of the zoning requires 4 stories maximum within that 100 feet. So the image on the left is our revised scheme where we tried to push a majority of that 6 stories beyond the 100-foot setback. So only a portion of that northern leg, about 35.5 feet, falls within that 100-foot setback. And the following slides are just some floor plans of the overall building. So on the left is the ground floor, which is primarily parking. The dark gray to the north is parking for the clinic. As I stated previously, there was a surface lot to the south that was part of Edward Elmhurst parking. So we've incorporated their parking into the garage in the north half. And the lighter gray to the south is parking for the apartments. And then obviously at the corner, that purple shaded area is the lobby and entry point into the building with some back of house spaces. So loading and parking garage entry will be along First Street, as well as a small drop-off for deliveries and ride sharing. You'll also notice that we eliminated several existing curb cuts that are along Haven. Obviously, we've kept just the one to the north, which connects to the existing Edward Elmhurst parking lot. And then the image to the right is the second floor parking, which is all, again, dedicated to the apartments. So this is parked at a ratio of 1.25 parking stalls per unit, which meets the zoning requirement. Next, please. These are just some typical floor plans. The image on the left is the first floor of residential units with the amenity courtyards. As you'll see, there's some amenity space directly off the amenity courtyard. And then there's a mixture of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedroom units throughout the floor plans. Next, please. And then this is just the upper floor of 5 and 6. As you'll see, the image on the right is the top floor, where that purple shaded area is a small amenity space with an outdoor amenity deck. Next, please. Again, this is a side-by-side comparison of our previous scheme that we showed the community at the beginning of May. That image is on the left. As you'll see, we had, again, a majority of that mass, 6-story mass, within that 100-foot setback along Haven. And the revised scheme to the right, where a majority of that mass was pushed to the west, and we flipped the amenity courtyard facing west to now facing east. Next, please. And this is just a perspective standing at the corner of Haven and First Avenue, looking back at the building. The image on the left, again, you can see where a small portion in this view was along Haven, and the revised one on the right showing that mass pushed back away from Haven. And this is a view from the north end of Haven. You'll see the EEH surface parking lot in the foreground and our proposed building in the background. So again, image on the left was the previous scheme, image on the right, where we took much of that mass on the 6th floor and pushed it back. And then this is another aerial view where you actually see the west facade facing the existing 7-Eleven and surface parking lot. So we've tried to break up this mass by articulating the balconies and alternating the material, both a light and a light gray and a mid-gray color palette, whereas a majority of the masonry is along the entire base of the building, and a majority of it facing the residential street along Haven with 2 brick tones, a red color and a dark charcoal color along the base. Next, please. And this is just a close-up perspective at the building entry into the lobby. So this is, again, at Haven and First Avenue. So that ground floor will be a lot of glazing, sun canopies to identify the entry point into the building. But as you see here, a large majority of masonry at the pedestrian level and at that corner. Next, please. And these next series of slides are just the elevations of each side of the building. So at the top, we have the south elevation, where you see a majority of the masonry at the corner. The bottom image is the east elevation facing Haven, where again, we have that strong masonry base, 2 colors of brick, with the 5- and 4-story masses clad completely in brick, and then the mass beyond clad in fiber cement panel, as well as balconies, giving further articulation and breaking up that mass. Next, please. And then these last 2 elevations, again, the top one is the north elevation, and the bottom one, the west elevation. And this is just the last slide, again, comparing those 2 aerial views. So previously, we had about 204 units. We did decrease the gross square footage slightly. So now this current scheme, we're at about 330,000 gross square feet. As I stated, parking ratio is about 1.25 per unit. And we're within the FAR. I think per zoning, the FAR is 4.0, and we're proposing 2.88 FAR. So that concludes the presentation. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, thank you. I'll ask members of the council if you have any questions about the presentation, not the resolution, which will be for a later date. Any questions? All right, thank you for the presentation this evening. We'll pick it up at a later meeting. Appreciate your time. We'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, receipt of written communications from the public. Is there anyone present who has a written communication they would like to deliver to the council? There being none, we'll move on to item 5.1, public forum. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any issue they so desire. Clerk Tamer has...
Yes, Mayor. First is Claude Pogwash.
Mr. Pagash?
My name's Claude Pogach, 566 West Gladys. It's been a while since I've been here. It's been a few years the first time I came here. Some of the aldermen are still around. To start out with, I'd like to thank all of you that ran for office and do hold office. It takes you away from your families. But the council used to be different. There used to be members that questioned the agenda, not just accept it. Very few people that are aldermen challenge it anymore. I don't understand why. You're 14 individuals, 14 different backgrounds. It's just like you waste a lot of time on zoning. All you got to do is look at Addison. 4-story building is now 6, and a 6 is an 8, and a 4-story garage is now 6. We just had a presentation about another development. It's going to follow the zoning of the city, right? And it's going to follow the building codes, right? Then why did an alderman have to ask about a masonry surface on the 8-story? It cost residents. Why? You got a building department, they have to look at a set of drawings. Engineers do not waste their time designing a structure that'll carry aluminum when in fact it's going to have to carry masonry. I lived in that world. There's no questions from the alderman on anything. There was an article in the paper about the excavation at York High School. Yes, there was. There was also a statement in this council that there was an agreement between the educational system and the city. One of the aldermen asked Public Works, what's this going to cost? Publicly said, I don't know. And let alone you as aldermen not knowing, other than the fact you might have a deal, what it was going to cost the public. But you voted it in. And yes, they're excavating a hole. Do you still know what it cost? Do any of you know what it cost? It's beneficial. Won't debate the point.
Mr. Pagash, your 3 minutes are up, so please wrap up.
So I would ask the alderman, you're 14 diverse people, let alone you ask very few questions. And don't vote on zoning anymore. You change it so often, nobody knows what the rules are.
Thank you, Clerk Tamer. Is there another?
John Dulles.
Good evening. I'm sure many of you know me. I'm very outspoken. Many of you don't like me, but I don't care. I love my town. I'm here about the parking on Addison. My business is, I'm second generation, 63 years on Addison Street, 128 North Addison. I'm proud to be a second generation owner, but I'm not proud of our city council and our mayor, former Mayor Morley, and the parking on Addison. when we have Formula Fit, I'm going to tell you a story what happened to me over the weekend on Saturday. I put a sign in my window. I've had many signs in my window, political signs, but I also criticize Fitness Formula. I said in the sign criticizing Fitness Formula, I said Fitness Formula is a big corporate entity that has corrupted our city hall and our police department. And I put that sign up. It hit a nerve. Someone saw it, called Fitness Formula corporate, and it happened to be a lady customer of mine for years who worked at Fitness Formula, comes over with a letter from Fitness Formula's corporate lawyer. She comes into my store Saturday morning, plops this piece of paper down on my counter, and she said, this is from Formula Fitness corporate lawyer, and I can't come back here anymore as your customer. So the coward Gail, the owner of Fitness Formula, had his employee, who was a customer of mine for years, bring this piece of paper to me from their corporate lawyer. And the letter said to me, John Dulles, cease and desist of having that piece of paper, that sign on the window saying about my business, it hurt my business, and I will sue you if you keep that piece of paper on the window. Then about an hour later, who comes in my store? Gail, the owner of Fitness Formula. Never met the guy before. Comes in my store. He says, I'm Gail, I'm owner of Fitness Formula. Take that sign down immediately or I will sue you. I says, I'm not taking it down. I said, first of all, I don't know if you're Gail, I don't know if you're the owner, I've never met you before. I said, but that letter is not going to intimidate me from your lawyer. I said to him, I said, if you are the owner of Fitness Formula, you have gotten a $14 million garage for free 5 years ago. You came to Elmhurst, you wanted to build your health club here. You told the city of Elmhurst, I want to build my health club here, but you have no parking on the street. Build me a garage and I will come here. After you guys turned down LA Fitness and they moved to York Road. So, Gail at Fitness Formula got a $14 million garage for free. Not only was Gail not happy with the
Mr.
14
Dulles,
million, wait a minute.
I'm waiting a minute.
Okay.
You're at 3 minutes, so just want to ask you to wrap up your comments.
Okay. Mr. Gale, owner of Fitness Formula, said to me, well, I pay taxes here. I says, well, we all pay taxes here. I says, you take up you're not happy with the $14 million garage we built you for free, but you're taking up 98% of the street parking. I says, everybody else that wants to park on Addison, that wants to go to the other 40 or 50 businesses on Addison, parks in front of my store because that's the only 3 spots left open. So I have to fight for parking on Addison for everybody else on the street. I'm this self-appointed long ranger for parking on Addison. It's not fair, ladies and gentlemen. You are public servants, from the mayor on down, to serve all the businesses on Addison, not just Fitness Formula, okay? They take 98% of the street. Wait a minute, Mayor.
No.
Mayor, wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute, please.
No,
You've
I'm
had
going
your
to,
4
I
minutes.
get to speak here. That microphone's being paid by us.
We're moving on.
No, we're not moving on.
Who's next on the agenda?
Listen, you're going to listen to me because the parking, I'm a business owner in 63 years in Elmhurst. 63 years. You don't disrespect business owners.
I'm not
Okay,
disrespecting
you
you,
don't-
sir.
you-
You're
you treat-
disrespecting the council.
No, I'm not disrespecting the council. I'm talking to the council. You guys work for us. We don't work for you. You work
Dulles,
for us.
please.
All of you, from the mayor on down.
Please
I'm here to
terminate
talk
your
about the
comments.
parking that I'm fighting for, not only for Dulles Cleaners, but 40 or 50 other businesses on Addison. Every single day, there are 98% are taken by the health club, which there's more 639 parking spots in that garage that we built for them.
Mr.
All these
Dulles,
people are
your
taking up the
message
parking.
has been
Listen,
received.
Mayor, you're just a new mayor. You're not the boss here. We're the bosses here. We're the bosses here.
I'm asking to have you removed.
No, you're not going to remove me.
You
This
wait
is not
and
a
see.
Gestapo here.
No, it's
This
a
is not the
city
Gestapo.
council.
You work for us. We get to speak as long as we pay for these microphones. And this building belongs to the taxpayer, not you.
You've got 10 seconds to stop.
No, I'll speak as long as I feel like it. I feel like it. I'm talking about parking you're discriminating against.
Anyone on the phone line?
They got disconnected when they shut them
All right.
They dial it back in.
For the council members, the phone line got disconnected when we turned off the sound, so if you will indulge, we're going to take about a 1-minute recess, and then we will pick up. Members of the council, what I'd like to do is proceed to the consent agenda, and then we'll go back to public comment to see if anyone has dialed back in and wants to speak. So with that, let me move on to item 6, the consent agenda. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any alderman would like to remove for further discussion or to vote against? All right, there being none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Do you want me to read it first, or?
Oh, yes, thank you. I forgot. New practice here, remember, we're going to read the consent agenda, so stand by.
Okay. 6.1, minutes of the regular meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. 6.2, accounts payable July 1st, 2021, total $2,056,859.93. 6.3, report Case 21, Giuliano, final plat of subdivision 954-956 North York. 6.4, report Case 21, P01, static conditional use permits and variations, 828 and 836 North York Street. 6.5, report 2020 comprehensive annual financial report, single audit report, and related communication. 6.6, amendment to number of liquor licenses in classification B, WB, WBBS, RL, and RSB. 6.7, report 2021 Elmhurst Craft Beer Festival. 6.8, report sanitary sewer manhole cover material purchase. 6.9, report 2021 asphalt rejuvenation program. 6.10, report DuPage County gasoline and diesel procurement joint purchase. 6.11, motor fuel tax program appropriations 2019 and 2021 to 2021. 6.12, report storm station retention rehabilitation. 6.13, report professional engineering agreement for construction inspection services for Utley Storm Station rehabilitation. 6.14, report 2021 inlet cleaning. 6.15, an ordinance approving a final plan unit development for the construction of an industrial building at the property commonly known as 837 South Riverside Drive, Elmhurst, Illinois. 6.16, an ordinance granting a conditional use permit for the operation of a group home community residence on the property commonly known as 348 North Larch, Elmhurst, Illinois. 6.17, an ordinance approving an 8th amendment to lease by and between MLRP 388 Carroll LLC as successor in interest to 388 Carroll Lane LLC in the city of Elmhurst, Illinois. 6.18, an ordinance extending temporary executive powers pursuant to Section 3.16 of Elmhurst Municipal Code and pursuant to 65 ILCS 5/11-1-6, 6.19, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing the execution of a contract for the custodial maintenance of parking decks and pedestrian tunnels project. 6.20, a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to extend a service agreement for AT&T fiber-based IP Flex SIP service and dedicated internet service between AT&T Corp. And the City of Elmhurst, DuPage, and Cook Counties. 6.21, a resolution adopting a disclosure and compliance policy of the City of Elmhurst, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois. 6.22, a resolution authorizing the purchase of one 2022 TV inspection truck replacement vehicle for the city's Public Works Utility Division and authorizing the disposal of one existing 2007 Ford F-450 van cutaway. 6.23, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing the execution of a contract for the native area maintenance and restoration project. 6.24, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing the execution of a contract for the 2021 storm sewer geopolymer lining project. 6.25, a resolution authorizing the execution of banking documentation with Fifth Third Bank for the City of Elmhurst, Illinois. And 6.26, a resolution approving the 2021 community grant recommendations and awarding the community grants.
Thank you, Clerk Tamel. It sounds like you're rehearsed. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? Alderman Deuter, motion. Alderman Honquist with a second.
Verimus? Aye. Deuter?
Aye.
Dunn?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Palumski?
Aye.
Jensen? Aye. Toludo?
Aye.
Cahill?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Honquist?
Aye.
Bastido absent. Mulliner?
Aye.
Brennan?
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, and 1 vacant. Consent agenda passes. Thank you. I'm going to go back to item 5, public forum. Is there any? All right, is there anyone on the line that wants to participate in public forum that's on the telephone line? Anyone on the line? All right, we will then conclude public forum. Thank you. We'll go on to item 7, committee reports. Clerk Tamer.
Therefore, the Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee recommends that the City Council approve and adopt the draft bicycle and pedestrian plan as part of the city's comprehensive plan. The city attorney is hereby directed to prepare the necessary documents for City Council approval. Signed, Danny Palumski, Chair, Mark A. Mulliner, Vice Chair, and Emily Bastido, Alderwoman, Ward 6.
Thank you. May I have a motion to put this before the council? Motion, Alderman Palumski. Second, Alderman Mulliner. Alderman Palumski.
Thank you, Mayor. The bicycle and pedestrian plan is the vision of transportation in Elmhurst from a community perspective, guided by a team of experts in transportation and planning. I want to begin by thanking everyone involved in its development, including staff, the Zoning Planning Commission, fellow elected officials, and that includes current and formerly elected, because this plan really kicked off in 2019 at the Elmhurst Cycling Classic, although its discussion began before that time too. But most importantly, I want to thank our residents. And I want to take a moment to touch on the residents' input in the public engagement process. If you look through the plan, you'll notice that there are a number of options, and there were some unique ways to engage with residents. There's, the table at the Cycling Classic, an interactive map, focus groups, surveys, and a campaign, the Walk, Bike, Snap Elmhurst Sweepstakes in September 2020. And during COVID, there were virtual open houses. What you might not see in that plan is a little bit more depth to how engaged our community was. So the fire department had an open house that allowed for discussion, and there was a table set up on this plan that had over 400 people in attendance. There's an interactive story map. That story map had over 15,000 engagements between May and August of 2020, and 24,000 views in total. It was in the front porch a number of times, city e-newsletter. We're sure that we reach as many people as possible. And we also had a steering committee that included District 205, Park District, Elmhurst University, Elmhurst Bicycle Club, DuPage County, Metro Pace, and Elmhurst Police Department. So this truly takes into consideration and signifies what the community wants in transportation in our community. The bike plan is community-centered, data-driven, accommodating to walking, bicycling, public transit, and also all abilities and ages. It's implementation-focused, so what's a nice added value to this plan is that it includes an actionable roadmap that will help guide the city as we proceed, which serves to support the grant application process and also decision-making with individual projects. What the plan is not is site-specific, permanent, or final. So that means that as we move forward, we will need to vet design specifications, engineering studies, identify sources of funding on a case-by-case basis. But this provides us with the framework that we need to move forward and to also communicate the message that Elmhurst is and wants to continue to be even more bike and pedestrian friendly. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Plumsky, any further comments, questions, discussion? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is about the implementation, so I appreciate that the plan has the focus on implementation. One of the recommendations is to identify a staff member to serve as a coordinator for the plan, someone who would manage the plan implementation. I'm just wondering if that concept came up in any of the committee's discussions.
Alderman Plumsky.
That concept has not come up, but we do have one of our plans, the sustainability plan does have a designated staff person that will come check on items. I would imagine one of our engineers that I don't want to appoint somebody just by saying someone's name out loud, but I would think it'd be more fitting to fall within that realm. But that's a good point. What is it we can do to ensure that we are revisiting our plans and this plan regularly? But that was not discussed at our committee.
Thank you.
Other comments, discussion?
Just one more point I think I'd like to make, that as we adopt this becomes an amendment to the comprehensive plan. And so assuming it is approved and then, we move on, it will technically be part of the comprehensive plan. But when residents seek that out, if you look on our website, it may not be directly physically attached to it unless we take a separate action. But we have a number of plans that we've adopted as amendments to our comprehensive plan. So this will be adopted in that same way.
Someday we may combine them. Anyone else? All right. There being no further discussion, Clerk Tamer.
Veremis.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Palumsky.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Toludo.
Aye.
Cahill.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Bastido absent. Mulliner.
Aye.
Brennan.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 vacancy.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 vacant, and the report passes. That brings us to item 8, resolutions. Clerk Tamer, would you read resolution 8.1?
A resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing the execution of a contract for the Utley Storm Station Rehabilitation Project. See item 6.12.
All right, can we have a motion to bring that before council? Alderman Brennan, second Alderman Honquist. Alderman Brennan.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Resolution 8.1 is related, as stated to 6.2 under our consent agenda. We're requesting to suspend the rules and vote on Resolution 8.1 tonight, as pumps associated with the project have a lead time of 20 to 30 weeks. Combined with that lead time, this project needs to be completed during the winter months when there's no rain. So for us to hit deadlines for that winter timeframe, we do need to get going. So that's the rationale behind suspending the rules.
Thank you. Any other further discussion? All right, Clerk Tamer?
Verimas? Aye. Deuter?
Aye.
Dunn?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Palumski?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Toledo?
Aye.
Cahill?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Conquest?
Aye.
Bastido absent. Mulliner?
Aye.
Brennan?
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, and 1 vacancy.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 vacant, and the resolution is adopted. On to Resolution 8.2. Clerk Tamer?
A resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional engineering services agreement by and between Clark Dietz, Inc. and the City of Elmhurst for construction phase services for the Utley Storm Station Rehabilitation Project. See item 6.13.
And motion to put this before the floor. Alderman Brennan, second Alderman Honquist. Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar to Resolution 8.1, similar rationale. 8.2, however, is related to professional services being delivered, by Clark Dietz to help complete the same project.
Very good. Any additional discussion? There being none, Clerk Tamer, call the roll.
Verimas? Aye. Deuter?
Aye.
Dunn?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Palumski?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Toledo?
Aye.
Cahill?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Conquest?
Aye.
Bastido absent. Mulliner?
Aye.
Brennan?
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, and 1 vacancy.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent, 1 vacant. The resolution passes. Item 8.3, as previously discussed, is being removed from the agenda. That brings us to item 9, reports and recommendations. Mayor, report 9.1, just 2 items. One is, as you saw, the emergency power ordinance was once again on there. I don't know if you took the time to read the mayor's, I'm the mayor, the governor's last executive order, and he expressly stated in there that for local officials, do not count on there being another extension when it expires on July 24th. So you probably have taken your last vote, hopefully, on this, and I'm not sure that we're really seeing the need for it as we go forward nonetheless. Secondly, I want to thank the 9 or so applicants who submitted applications for the vacant 5th Ward seat, which we will be proceeding on with the hopes of filling that by August, our first August meeting. City Manager report?
No report.
That's a good report. All right. Item 10, any other business to be brought before the council? Alderman Mulliner.
I just have a question that relates to the executive order. Do we have anything that's outstanding right now that we need to codify? I mean, we don't necessarily have to worry about it right now, but is there anything we need to codify before that executive order expires?
You know, that's a very good question to revisit because some of our downtown.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at that. I appreciate that, Alderman
Thank
Mulliner. Anything else? Well, that brings us to item 11, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Alderman Park, second Alderman Honquist. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Have a good night.